Important 6A matchup between Hylton and Riverbend, first ever matchup between these two teams. Hylton comes away with the very close 31-28 victory over the Bears.
You've seen Riverbend as much as anybody. Has anybody lost more close games this year than the Bears?
It is absolutely phenomenal. So Riverbend falls to 4-6 on the season. 5 of those losses have been by 3 points or less. In fact, those 5 losses, a combined total of 11 points.
Yeah, and I was told that this was one of the first games where Riverbend felt like maybe they weren't out-physicaled, but they had a team that was their physical match, not necessarily athletes, but they thought Hylton was a very physical team. Riverbend is a very physical team, and it went the Bulldogs' way.
It did go the Bulldogs' way. It was a back-and-forth affair, so Riverbend jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Hylton was able to close the gap. They went to halftime at 14-all. Riverbend comes out in the third quarter, early fourth quarter, takes a 28-14 lead. Hylton comes back and ties it, and then it's a late field goal by Hylton that ends up being the difference there. But yeah, so Hylton, it was back and forth. Bend had the upper hand, at least on the scoreboard, for much of the game. But I tell you, Hylton, first time I've seen these kids, they've got a quarterback, Donovan Williams. He's a commit to Connecticut. He is legit. I know that I'm not breaking any news there, but he absolutely is a threat. 19 for 28 passing the ball, 289 yards and 3 touchdowns passing. He also had a number of runs. You know, this Riverbend defense, especially on a run side, is quite effective. Jared Austin, who is, I believe, their third string running back. I'd hate to see what the first and second look like. Austin, 18 carries, 122 yards and a touchdown rushing. That might be the first 100-yard rusher that Riverbend has given up this season.
Yeah, and I think Riverbend certainly had offensive numbers here today. You know, Jordan DeMarco had a nice game, 19 of 29 for 260 yards with a touchdown. That's one of his best days of the year. You know, Matt Young, the receiver, with 7 catches for 103 yards, certainly with an impact. And then they get 2 touchdowns rushing out of Orlando Jones and another touchdown out of Lorenzo Dorr, 12 carries for 69 yards for Dorr. You know, the Bears are certainly Hylton's match. You know, they're gonna have to find ways now. They get this week to rest. Then it's playoff time, and they're gonna have to find a way to win some of these games.
And we feel fairly certain that they're in the playoffs.
I feel pretty good about it, that Riverbend's going to be in at no worse than 8th. I think probably 8th in the 18 bracket.
So for back-to-back years making the playoffs for Riverbend, that's a first for them. A relatively young school, their 11th year playing football. I'll tell you though, Justin, we previewed a number of teams in the area before this season started, and I suggested this could be a better team than it was last year with a worse record, and I think it's played out that way. 4-6. But this is a strong team. I think that this year's Riverbend team beats last year's Riverbend team.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. You're going to argue with me on that, right? I mean, maybe. But a good team, but they have not been able to get over the hump and win these close games.
Well, they've certainly played a tough schedule.
They have.
They've certainly played a tough schedule.
So they have actually finished their season. They'll be on bye next week, Riverbend, with the 31-28 loss at the hands of Hylton.